Hello friends, today I wanted to film a video on alter relationships because when I go on the DID subreddit and every time somebody posts saying, hey, two alters are having a romantic relationship or I'm having a romantic relationship with an alter, a lot of times it is met with, stop faking this disorder, you're taking it too far, alters aren't going to date each other, that's gross, this is a serious disorder and you're making this like a YA novel. But the thing is alters do date each other sometimes. And I could understand why that would come off immediately as faking, because to some people that probably would seem a little absurd, but it is something that happens and it kind of has almost a symbolic meaning. So I just wanted to sit here and kind of explain it and clear it to some people that may not understand how that happens. Now, my system doesn't really have experience with this, but I know that it is something that happens sometimes, and it's actually not that uncommon. So just like alters can be friends, whenever they start getting closer and becoming more integrated with each other, they can be friends and stuff and start hanging out. So one of the goals of therapy is getting your alters to, at the very least, communicate with one another and, just establish a connection, even if they're not besties, you know what I mean? But alters have friend relationships. Romantic relationships are just kind of another version of friend relationships in a way. It's just they're more, you know what a romantic relationship is. I don't have to explain it. But I know that oftentimes when alters start getting closer and are kind of getting closer to fusion, however, this doesn't mean you're going to fuse. You don't have to fuse if you don't want to fuse, but oftentimes when alters are getting closer to each other, they'll start to form kind of a romantic relationship. And why that is I think that if an alter is to represent a certain aspect of a person that you needed in order to protect you from trauma, then if you start intertwining and forming a relationship with that aspect, then it's symbolizing you two becoming more comfortable in your being, and forming a relationship with those things in your head. I don't really know if I'm explaining this the right way, but if you have an alter that's really comfortable in social situations and you are the host, let's say, that kind of dynamic, right? And you and this alter used to not talk very much and used to not be very can't talk. Used to not be very close, but then you started becoming friends. Then that's kind of like you coming to terms with the idea of this person's being and what they're for and kind of understanding it in a way. Then if you two start forming a romantic relationship, it's like you're forming a relationship between the alter that presents themselves to the rest of the world and handles everyday life and being more comfortable in social situations. It's like your brain is kind of forming a relationship between those two ideas, and to where those ideas can feel comfortable around each other enough to have a romantic connection. And then maybe one day that will get so close that it fuses. But it's kind of like on this spectrum, you know what I mean, where the closer two alters get, the more functional a system is. And oftentimes there's kind of a subconscious reason why two alters are dating each other. And it's really not that uncommon. And that's not to say that two alters have to be in a relationship before they fuse, or that two alters who are in a relationship are going to fuse the way in it one day, and that's the only way that it works. But it's oftentimes the way that it works. And I just think I am sick of hearing people say that that's never a thing that happens, and that if that's happening, then that means you don't have DID. You're either confused or you're just faking and creating just a storybook narrative in your head to entertain yourself, when that's not really how it works. But I think what happens more often is two alters inside of a system have relationships with each other. And that's pretty common. Oftentimes alters will come in pairs. Like if we look at the Entropy system, who had Ed and Oz split off, which were introjects of people from a TV show, they were dating each other, and they came and they split off in a pair. And they were a working system that worked together. And your subconscious just has different ways of representing different mental functions it's trying to do. And to have two functional things working together like that in a romantic way, it just shows the dynamic certain aspects of your brain have with one another. And it's not that weird. And I think another thought that comes into people's heads whenever you mention alter relationships is like, isn't that kind of like, I don't know the right word, incestuous? Like, that's kind of weird. But it's really not, because they're not the same person, right? And it's not like these alters exist in their own bodies that are the same thing as your body. There's only your body. And so the vast majority of the time, if alters are like dating each other or having a sexual relationship with one another, that's going to be like inside your own head in the inner world. You know what I mean? And so in there, you're going to have your own physical bodies that are your own. And it's really not gross in any way. It's just like a normal relationship. And I've also heard systems talk about how they only have, a lot of their system members only want to have relationships with other people inside of the head because a lot of people on the outside just don't understand DID and don't understand them. So it's hard to just go date people like that. And yeah, this video is just to say that it's not that uncommon or weird of a thing to happen. So that's the main reason why I'm making it. It's not going to be too long because I'm probably like done right now, but I just wanted to say that because it's quite common and a lot of people don't understand it. But sometimes alters date each other or have sex with each other, and it's perfectly fine and perfectly normal, and you shouldn't be embarrassed about it. I mean, you shouldn't have to be embarrassed about it, but some people will be mean to you about it. So it's like a lot of the things, like telling people you have DID in general, it's like, is that something you ever want to share with people is going to be something you'll just have to feel out by the person. But yeah, it happens sometimes. And I just wanted to make the video to say that. So hopefully that helped somebody. I don't know. I just woke up, so I'm probably not talking very smoothly, but, you know, that's all I wanted to say. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.